growing up, I recall a song that was very popular every time you watch GBC TV at the time. And it was Koko Yagana, Koko Yesika. It goes on to even say Kwafo Mo. Is Cocoa still Ghana? And is Cocoa wealth?
Cocoa is still Ghana. Cocoa is very important for Ghana. And when we meet the farmers, the mantra is that cocoa is Ghana and a Ghana is cocoa. So you shout cocoa, then they respond Ghana, cocoa, Ghana. Ghana, then they will say cocoa. And that is what identifies the Ghanaian, even outside Ghana. You go anywhere, and then we are from Ghana because our cocoa is very unique out there. And for the economy, cocoa plays a very, very significant role. It is the central pillar. It is the backbone. And of late, I also add that it is the oxygen source of our economy. Anytime, you lack oxygen in your body, it means
There's no emergency.
Passing, away. And the same thing can be applied to our economy. Anytime the cocoa resources, the revenue declines, then the economy is seriously affected.
Yeah.
So cocoa continues to be very, very important.
Again, I will go back to what I learned in school. We grew up learning about Ghana's raw materials, timber, manganese, bauxite, cocoa, gold. And we were number one for a long time. Recently, we've been overtaken by Cote d'Ivoire, our neighbors next door. How much of a gap exists in terms of our overall production versus what Cote d'Ivoire produces?
Yes, between us and Cote d'Ivoire, the difference is over 1 million.
Okay.
Cote d'Ivoire.
That's 1 million metric tons.
Yeah, 1 million metric tons. Cote d'Ivoire, it's even more than that. Cote d'Ivoire, we're doing 2.3 million, 3.2. We were around 800. Okay. The last time we were about 1 million. That's in 2020, 2021. We hit 1 million metric tons. They've been hovering around 800,000, whilst Cote d'Ivoire has been doing around 2.1, 2.2 million. But currently, Cote d'Ivoire's production is also come down just out of Ghana. And there's a major phenomenon happening. And that is what has, brought about global shortages of cocoa. So Cote d'Ivoire may be producing currently around 1.8 million. And we are, doing around 500,000, 600,000 metric tons.
What has accounted for this dip in our production levels?
The current situation can largely be explained by El Nino effect. El Nino is a extreme weather condition. It's caused by heat waves from the Pacific Ocean. And depending upon its direction of movement, it can either bring excessive moisture or it can bring excessive heat, dryness, heat. Last year, it was anticipated that El Nino was coming. And truly, from last year, April, particularly May, June, temperatures started rising up globally up to this year, April.
Yeah.
So for the 12 months, Ghana experienced excessive rainfall. We did not have the heat.
Yeah, the heat was over on the Mediterranean in Europe.
Yeah. Just as I said, depending upon the movement of the El Nino. So going over the Sahara Desert, it sent a lot of heat waves in the Mediterranean region. Greece and all those places, Spain, had a lot of wildfires. And then in Ghana, it brought rather moisture. The West African region, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, all the cocoa producing regions, the West African environment experienced excessive rainfall. One thing about cocoa is that it's an equatorial forest crop.
Okay.
But it doesn't like too much water.
Well,
Excessive water, especially if it's in low-lying areas, will not actually enhance production.
okay.
Rather, it adversely affects the production of those farms. And last year, the rainfall brought about a lot of waterlogging areas that the soils were soaked with too much water. And the root hairs of the cocoa trees could not absorb nutrients. So we lost almost all our flowers.
Wow.
Last year, from April to we had rains, April, May, June, July, August. Ordinarily, August is a dry month in Ghana, but last year it was raining. And once you have rains throughout that period, cocoa cannot stand. So we lost the flowers. And losing flowers means that you've lost your crop.
Of course, because you will go from flowering
Flower to the cherries and then the fruits. So we lost it. And this is something that I think, the intellectual community will have to understand. And I've heard people of high intellectual, standing, saying that El Nino, yes, El Nino, but it doesn't mean that you lost your crop. The point is that El Nino is a natural phenomenon. It's something that is beyond any human control. And it wasn't only Ghana. It affected all the cocoa producing countries, especially in Africa, even in Asia, and then South America, they also experience it. Let me bring our minds back to 1982, 1983, we lost almost all our farms as a result of bushfires in Ghana in 1983.
We had extreme drought and bushfire.
Dryness and so on and so forth. We lost all our cocoa. That was El Nino effect.
Wow.
El Nino effect. Now, this year, we were just lucky because last year, we had so much rainfall in the country that the soils were, soaked, full of moisture. So from November, December, January, February this year, you notice that temperatures were very high.
Yes.
39 degrees, 40, 41 degrees Celsius. If it hadn't rained last year, and with the retreat, the El Nino was retreating. And that's what brought about these high temperatures. If it hadn't rained last year, we would have experienced the same condition that happened to Ghana in 1982. Because by February, the whole environment would have been so dry, and then once the environment is dry, the little spark, then you have wildfires. But we've been saved because we had so much rain last year. And when this year began, 2024, yes, there was heat, but then we did not experience any bushfires. And for the cocoa, we lost the crop. Once you lose the flowers, you shouldn't expect to have any crop.
Okay.
Then we came this year, starting with excessive heat.
Okay.
But now the situation has improved. El Nino has retreated. Now we have what is called La Nina. El Nina. Yeah, so from El Nino to
El Nino.
El Nino. And that one brings about coolness. We've seen rains, and the rains are normal. So we are also seeing good flower this time, meaning that we are going to recover. And the recovery is going to affect our crop for next year, starting from October. Our season starts from October, and then it ends the following year, September 30th. Therefore, last year around this time, when we were expecting the flowers, and the flowers, were devastated, it affected the whole crop from last year, October, to now.
So that explains the shortage that we have at the moment.
Yeah. So that's the 23-24 season. So for 23-24 season, we are going to have one of the worst. I have to say it. We are going to have one of the worst.
So if we're producing about 800 metric tons, how much of an impact will it have on an overall?
We are likely to lose over 300,000 metric tons.
Whoa.
Yes. It could even be more. We may be doing just about 500,000 metric tons. It's going to be one of our least in recent years. And this one is beyond any human capability. I've heard people saying that, the chief executive should have done something about it. It's an issue of mismanagement. No. Please. This is a natural phenomenon that no human being has any control over it. And I'm glad that now it has retreated. And for us here in Ghana, we are experiencing good rains, and therefore we expect to see good harvest.
So that would be for the 2024-25.
Exactly. So 24-25, I can say that we can make 800,000 metric tons.
Okay.
And if the farmers follow all the interventions at play, we've introduced a number of interventions. If they follow them, we may even make another record.
Okay. Yeah. We'll come back to cocoa proper, but let's talk money.
Yes.
I think it was a headline last week in most of the papers indicating that COCOBOD had posted a profit in the last financial year.
Yes.
From my layman's mind, sounds like magic, considering that you've had the challenges that you've had. What accounted for that?
Yeah, essentially, cocoa prices from last year, that's 22-23, had been rising. And once we have such increases, definitely it will affect your revenue. And also the management of our cost of financing, especially those related to cocoa bills. The cocoa bills, I have to touch on that later. But we were financing cocoa bills at coupon rates around 30%.
Wow.
30% per annum.
That's like an SME loan in Ghana.
Really. So when we did the cocoa bills, restructuring, it came, the coupon rate now has come to 12.5%. And of that, it means that we are not, spending much
to service that.
Yeah, to service such the debt. And that is part of it.
Okay.
And then, of course, the revenue as a result of increase in the producer price. Even at that time, the producer price had just moved from around $2,000 per ton to around $2,500, $2,600. And we've been able to make that.
Yeah.
That tells us that going forward, we are likely to have even better, results. And our books are going to continue to look green. So instead of the red that has been there for more than 10 years, it's been there for more than 10 years. Wow. At the time we came, the books were read, and it's continued to be so. Of course, we came to face challenges, and the challenges exacerbated the debt in on our books.
Right.
Yes, but we are now having a turnaround situation for Ghana COCOBOD.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I mean, apart from renegotiating, coupon rates down, price of cocoa going up, and that's something that, I mean, at the moment there's a shortage, so one would expect that where demand outstrips supply, prices will go up. But we're not even able to cash in on that because we don't have the beans.
We don't have the beans. The little that we've been able to produce because of the price position,
Okay.
we're able to make good, earnings from that. Of course, we had also sold most of our cocoa forward. We've sold most of our cocoa forward, and once you sold forward, it becomes difficult for you to take advantage of the spot prices, the prevailing prices on daily basis, and that has also, in a way, created a lot of noise about the revenue flows of COCOBOD. Why is COCOBOD not getting or taking advantage and then getting enough revenues for the country and able to pay even better for farmers? It's all because of the way we've structured our marketing. We do forward sales, that's futures instead of spots.
Okay.
Let me touch on the issue of the profits. The profit is coming from our auditors, reports. We normally use external auditors, and E&Y, they did the current the audit for 22-23.
Okay.
And indication is that we posted over 2 billion Ghana cedis. We want to sustain it and improve upon that. But then the current price situation reflects next year, 24-25. It is not reflecting in 23-24.
Okay.
Because of the way we trade. We do forward. Now, again, I want to take my time and explain the difference between the spot and then
the forward.
The forward, because it creates a lot of confusion. It's a bit technical. But the whole thing is that buyers will normally prefer the forward, much as sellers
would rather do spot.
No, sellers will prefer forward.
Oh, really?
Yes, I said ordinary.
Ordinarily, okay.
Ordinary.
Okay.
The reason being that if the buyer buys cocoa today, he's not going to use it today. All the chocolate manufacturing companies, buy cocoa for future use, grinding. They always have to plan ahead of time, 6 months, 1 year, and then maybe 18 months ahead of time. And when they do, they buy the cocoa, but with a view that the cocoa should be delivered to them in the future. Why? If they buy the cocoa and take the cocoa to, say, Europe, we sell most of our cocoa in Europe. If they take the cocoa there, one, they have to get a warehouse. Warehouse cost is very high over there. Insurance.
Because the risk is on them.
Yeah, the risk is on them. And then cocoa is a tropical product. You assign it to a temperate environment. You have to condition the cocoa for the next 6 months, the next 12 months, or even 18 months before you use. And the cost of doing that. So when they consider all those things, what they do is that they rather will want to transfer that risk to the seller, the producer. That yes, I'm buying the cocoa today, keep it for me, and deliver it in the future. And in doing so, I'm prepared to pay more.
Okay.
So the risk then, is exposed
To the seller.
to the seller. And for the seller too, it is good because it's earning more. Not delivering the cocoa immediately, it's going to deliver in future. But when that time comes, he's going to earn more than he's seeing today.
Okay.
So at all times, forest sales have been the preferred mode of, trading in Ghana. COCOBOD prefers to do forest sales, than futures, and then the buyers also prefer forest sales for these reasons that I've given.
Because they give certain guarantees to both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah.
And for COCOBOD, it was also good because it allowed COCOBOD to plan ahead. Because once you open the season, you must have lump sum to be able to buy your cocoa. You don't have to wait until you open the season and then it's not that you're going to sell cocoa to get money to come and pay farmers. No, you should have lump sum ready that when the farmers deliver the cocoa, you'll be able to pay. And on daily basis at the trading room or at the terminal market, COCOBOD, that's represented by Cocoa Marketing Company, Ghana Limited, they represent COCOBOD when it comes to trading, can sell about 600, 800 tons, sometimes even 100 tons.
Metric tons.
Metric tons.
Okay.
The whole of February this year, we sold 25 tons. February this year.
25.
25, the whole month. The whole month, February. 25 tons. So imagine producing 800,000 metric tons and you are selling the cocoa, even if you are selling it 600 tons, 800 tons, 600 tons, 800 tons, you need about 1,000 days
To be able to sell.
to sell everything.
Wow.
You see? So you don't have to wait until, it's time you open the season and then that's when you are going to the market to go and sell. It will be disastrous for the country. So what cocoa, and this is something, it's not new. It's something that has been done all over the years, that COCOBOD looks for money, lump sum, and then, and to do that, it means you have to sell, ahead of time, minimum 12 months.
Okay.
Minimum 12 months. But if you're going to sell 600, 800, if you are lucky and you have a buyer who will even buy 2,000, 2,000 tons. Still, if you are selling 600,000 metric tons, so
quite a lot.
Quite a number of days to do that. So we do the forest sales and then lock, the contracts with the buyer. But we are all subject to the Federation of Cocoa Commerce, which is an international regulator. And they ensure that once contracts are signed, everybody, gets committed to the contracts. And with that, COCOBOD sells, when the time comes, you have the money then to pay farmers. Then last year, by April, the market has sensed that there was going to be a Nino. So producers would not be able to deliver their contract. Right? And then prices started going. Well, they needed their cocoa immediately. Meanwhile, they sensed that the market was going to face a shortage. And if the market was going to face a shortage, then they have to go in immediately and get cocoa. So they entered the market looking for cocoa.
And that's what was more that price up.
The cocoa was not there. So they come today. So it started just one day. When cocoa was hovering around $2,200. And because we have living income differential, I'll talk about that. For every ton of cocoa bought from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, they were adding $400. So we were around 2006. All other exporters were doing 2002, 2001. And so cocoa was still around $2,000. Then suddenly, in April, we woke up just one day and the market had gone to $3,000. By May, it was over $4,000. By September, the market had moved to about almost 6,000 plus. December, it was over $7,000. Almost every month, there was an increase. And by February, the market had gone over $10,000, you know, and it's still now around $9,000, $10,000 because of effect of El Nino. There's now global shortage. Now, the risk is not being pushed to the buyer. To the seller.
Yeah.
The buyer needs cocoa immediately and is prepared to pay for anything today, but he can't get it.
That's true. So there, even though there's an opportunity to cash in, you don't have the beans.
You don't have the beans. El Nino had yet. But if El Nino also had not come, the price wouldn't have gone up there.
True.
Because when we assumed office in 2017, price of cocoa had fallen by 30%. Before then, in 2016, June 2016, price of cocoa at the international market was over $3,000. And COCOBOD, a cocoa marketing company, could even sell cocoa at $3,200, $3,100, and so on and so forth. Of course, they were also selling some at $2,900 at the time. When we assumed office in 2017 January, price of cocoa was $2,080 per ton at the international market.
Right.
In 2018, price of cocoa went down further to $1,850 per ton. Now, ordinary, you will have to pay your buyer. There's those who go to the farm gate to buy cocoa from the farmers, the LBCs, to pay them. We call that the buyer's margin.
Okay. So that's the license.
Buying
companies. Okay.
So you give your commission, which is the buyer's margin. Now, once the cocoa is bought, right from the farm gate to the depots and then to the ports, the cocoa had to be hauled. And we call that the haulage cost or the haulage margin. You have to make allocation for that. Fertilizer costs, the chemicals for spraying. Every year we hire about 48,000 people to do mass spraying.
Wow.
Since President Kufuor's time, it's been so. You have to pay for that. So when you put all that together, plus COCOBOD costs have been around 6%. But quite recently, we brought it down to that administrative cost. We brought it down to 2.5% for the total. Now, when you put all that together, that when you set the farmer's cost aside, all other costs comes to about $800 per ton. And then when we came to office, price of cocoa, which was over $3,000, had dropped to around $2,000, 30% drop. Now the question is, do you have to reduce the farmer's price? You know, if you reduce the farmer's price, it means COCOBOD finances will be good. COCOBOD then will have a healthy financial position.
But you created this incentive for the farm.
Yes. You sort of it's not, you incur the wrath of the farmers. Wrath in the sense that farmers, cocoa farmers in the country. That's why the song you started with, you know, they have held this country all this while. The economy of the country has been born at their backs.
Yeah.
All these years. And then suddenly price on the international market falls. And then, you go and reduce. So we were torn between the financial health of COCOBOD as against, the economy, the national economy, that the farmers' situation.
Yeah.
If you reduce the farmers' price, if you reduce it, yes, COCOBOD finances will be good. The economy will be impacted. And that was the time when also illegal mining was about to explode.
I was just about to go there to ask you that we've had stories about farmers leasing their land to illegal miners. How much of an impact has Galamsey had on cocoa? In the environment, we can understand, but, rivers and the lakes, but on cocoa farming itself?
Well, I will answer you, but if I'd finish with the point I was making about why, we took cocoa bears.
Okay.
Well, I'm explaining why we took cocoa.
Okay.
The world market price had fallen by 30%, and then we were torn between the decision of reducing the farmer's price or not reducing the farmer's price. If you reduce the farmer's price, it means that farmers will lose interest in cocoa. And maybe they may dispose of their land to illegal mining and some. At that point, farmers were cutting cocoa trees, converting them into cashew. Eastern region, they were converting them into rubber, and so on and so forth. So once you reduce the farmer's price, you worsen the situation for them, and then, they will start converting all their cocoa farm into other land uses.
Yeah.
So we consider that factor. And if you don't also reduce the farmer's price, well, the other costs, you definitely have to pay. If a buyer is going to buy cocoa, he has to get his commission.
Yeah.
If the cocoa is bought, the college had to come. COCOBOD staff, unless maybe you are laying off all COCOBOD staff. All these, had to be paid. They are more or less costs that you cannot avoid. You definitely have to bear. So we then decided that between the two evils, we would prefer not to reduce the farmer's price to save the industry. That's the economy. And if you are not reducing the farmer's price, that also means that you have to go and borrow to show up. And that's what brought about the cocoa bears. But before that cocoa bears issue came, there was a preceding issue that has to do with COCOBOD's own financial position when we assumed office in 2017.
Right.
I've said it somewhere, and then my predecessor, Dr. Opone, is saying that he's challenging me. I've already explained that the records are there, and it's not the first time I'm saying this. When we came in 2017, I mentioned it, that we had no money, so we had to go and borrow. The fact is that the previous administration, the NDC administration that Nana Akufo-Addo took over, COCOBOD at that time borrowed 1.8 billion to buy cocoa, and then for other activities. By December 31st, all the $1.8 billion had been spent.
Wow.
Had been expended, used, if I should put that, they've been utilized. And January, there was no money. They bought cocoa, yes. If you check the records, by January, February, before we came, they bought over 600,000 metric tons. And when we came, we also bought cocoa over 350,000 metric tons. So at 7,600 Ghana cedis per ton. That's what we were paying the farm. 7,600 Ghana cedis per ton. If you buy cocoa to the tune of 350,000, it comes to over 2 billion cedis. That's for the farmers alone. But we have to borrow to to do
To
that.
finance that. Okay.
So we borrowed 2.2 billion. And you can check the records. Then the figure is to 355,000 metric tons multiplied by 7,600 Ghana cedis is about 2.7 billion Ghana cedis. And we have to find that money. Meanwhile, there was no money there. And so we went to Bank of Ghana, and Bank of Ghana had to play the intermediary role, source money from commercial banks. And that's how Cocoa Bill, our time started.
Okay.
Now, the following year, 2018, price had gone down because 2017 price was already down. 2018 price were further down from around $2,000 to now $1,850. Now with $1,850, again we have to decide, because we went to the market, borrowed, all right, but whatever we are borrowing wasn't enough for you to pay the farmer. Even the prevailing producer price. So we have to borrow to shore up. So the second reason was that we have to borrow to make up for the shortfall from the international market to be able to save the industry. The first one was because there was no money there, so we have to borrow to purchase cocoa. But the second one was because the prices at the international market had fallen drastically. So we have to borrow to shore up, to save the industry. And for the 2 years, we borrowed over 5 billion. The first year, 2 billion, 2.2. The second year, another 3 billion at interest rate around 20%.
Okay.
And at the end of every year, at that interest rate, once COCOBOD was unable to pay the principal and then the interest, it was rollover. And it's a rollover effect that brought about these cocoa barrels worth over 15 billion last year.
Okay.
So it was restructured. That explains the cocoa barrels issue. And with the restructuring, we had to pay government side, that one is what Bank of Ghana is dealing with it with us. But the commercial banks aspect, that one was restructured to be paid over, a period of 15 years at 12.5%. And to me, once COCOBOD improves, we should be able to find money and pay this, even before the tenure. Okay. We should be able to find money to pay off all these cocoa bears. And I must also register here that it's not the first time that COCOBOD had been engaged in cocoa bears. That's it's something that started in 2020, 2011. Because you will notice that 2010, 2011, Ghana made a crop of over 1 million. That was 1,020,000.
Okay.
Under Professor Tadmelos. Now, under Nana Akufo-Addo, we made 1,047,000. So there's a difference there. The first one was 1,020,000.
Yeah.
The second record, which is the highest ever, was 1,047,000 metric tons. Now, in 2010, 2011, when that 1,020,000 metric tons was made, there was a challenge with finance. So, Bank of Ghana became the last resource. Went there and then borrowed from commercial banks. That's how cocoa bears started. So that's the genesis of cocoa bears. So cocoa bears started that time. And then 2012, so 2010, 2011, 2011, 2012, they borrowed again.
Okay.
2012, 2013, they decided to convert, the cocoa burrs into a long term. So it was converted into a long term loan.
Of course, being long term means that your coupon rates will go a little lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the, so long term with a 3-year moratorium.
Okay.
Which means that instead of paying anything, they had to wait until 2016
Before they start
paying. Now, when the moratorium period came, 2016, 2016 was election year.
That's right.
They then added another 2-year moratorium to 2018.
Okay.
So 2018, so it means that from 2013 to 2018, there was no payment. Now, 2018, we were in office.
And then you had you had the repayment kicking in.
Yes. So we came and inherited this, 10-year, we call it the 10-year loan. So when you look at our books, it's there, 10-year loan. You have to come and pay the loan, the interest and all that, And we are still paying, we haven't finished paying, it's there. But, we started paying the interest on it and so on and so forth. And that's what, the only this thing is that Bank of Ghana paid all those who were holding the coupons, the cocoa beer coupons. Bank of Ghana paid them off. And it's now become a loan between Ghana COCOBOD and Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
The 10-year loan.
Okay.
Then we also started 2017. As I said, there was no money. We had to go and borrow to able to buy cocoa. Started with 2.2 billion. And then in 2018, when price had fallen further from first, it was over 3,000. 2017, price had come to around $2,000. And then 2018, price had fallen further to $1,850. So you have to go and borrow again to show up. And we borrowed 3 billion to bring in the new cocoa bears up to 5 billion.
But that was also, as you said earlier, was restructured.
This one we have now restructured.
You've now restructured that to
exactly.
15-year repayment period.
That's for the commercial aspect.
Okay.
But the Bank of Ghana aspect, that one, we are still having discussions with Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
We want them to convert them into long-term, facility for us to fill. Yes. So these explain the cocoa. The point I always say is that now, if anybody was in my position, those who are saying that, it amounts to mismanagement, we've messed up at COCOBOD and all that, they should place themselves in my position. At that point in time, in 2016, 2018, when price had collapsed, fallen by 30%, what would they have done? Would they have, reduced the farmer's price? Anybody listening to me, including my good friends in NDC, yes, would they have reduced the farmer's price? They should come public and tell the Ghanaians, the farmers, that yes, we wouldn't have caused COCOBOD any debt.
That would have squeezed you.
We would have reduced your producer price. They should come public and tell us. But we considered it that, we needed to save the industry. Saving the industry here meant that you don't have to reduce the farmer's price, no matter what. Go and borrow. Let the farmers continue to hold on to the industry. And today, prices are now up. Because if we had reduced the farmer's price, there would have been no cocoa tree today.
So you demonstrated your commitment to the farmers through thick and thin.
The nation, not even only the farm, the nation.
The nation's
With the
economy.
economy, we started with that good song.
Cocoa ya Ghana,
Yes.
cocoa ya Sika.
So it's the nation.
Okay.
You see, the cocoa is a national strategic crop.
Yeah.
And you get a point whereby international market price is, crashing it. The question is, you forget about the farmer. The question is, this national strategic crop, do you allow the market to crash it? No. So you save it first.
Okay.
Before you come and think about COCOBOD's financial health.
Okay. And so essentially you've done pretty well there. As we did say, for the first, in 10 years, you've posted a profit of over 2.2 billion.
Over 2.2
cedis. Now, you're not out of the woods completely because...
Not. Now, let me touch on the other aspects. CSSVD has been a problem.
Okay.
And then illegal mining.
Okay. So CSSVD being cocoa swollen shoot virus disease. Okay. And then there's illegal mining.
Illegal mining.
Okay.
And then of late smuggling.
Smuggling. Good. Let's take these three separately. I'd like to start with illegal mining because I'm quite passionate about this. I have been of the opinion that it was something that was affecting more our forest reserves and our water bodies. I didn't know cocoa was being impacted so bad.
It's seriously. And, we haven't seen the effect yet of illegal mining are not being realized yet. If nothing is done about it, we are likely to see its full weight in about 10 to 15 to 20 years to come. By the year 2050, Ghana will be in trouble if we don't do anything about it. It's affecting it in many ways. The direct destruction of cocoa farms, that's when you lose the farms, you lose the trees, and then it will affect production. So far, that has not been felt so much as far as our production levels are concerned.
Okay.
But what the illegal mining is doing is that it's affecting the environment within which cocoa is being produced. Cocoa ordinarily is produced on well-drained land. Cocoa doesn't like swamp areas. Okay. Waterlog, I've already mentioned waterlog and swamp, this effect. And so when you go to any cocoa farm, the adjoining land that is normally swamp is not cultivated to cocoa. And that swamp area is a whole reservoir of water. You see, nature's own wisdom created all these swamp areas as a reservoir to provide some kind of ecosystem within that environment. So during the dry season, during the Harmattan, November to about early March, you have a lot of evaporation taking place from these swamp areas. And then by morning, the evaporated water, that are condensed, come down as dew. So when you're going to any cocoa farm in the morning, even during the Harmattan period, you see a lot of moist around. And the cocoa leaves have pores.
Oh.
Yes. Just as we have
pores on our skin.
Yes, sweat pores.
Okay.
You have sweat pores. You don't see it. Until you are sweating, you don't know that there are pores there. In much the same way, the cocoa leaves also have these pores. We call them the stomata. And during the daytime, early morning, the stomata opens. When the light, the daylight goes off, it shuts. Like window, it shuts everything completely.
Okay.
But once it sees light, or when they see light, then they open. And then any moisture on it, on the leaf, they will absorb.
Okay.
And use. So, the cocoa environment is said that we have this ecosystem play whereby the swamp areas, more or less supply moisture onto the cocoa, even in dry.
Because they're reservoirs.
Yes. Okay. Dry condition. And that's the first target where illegal miners will go. They will excavate these swamp areas. One, they disturb the ecosystem. That microclimate,
Change.
which is created as a result of the swamp, and then the cocoa land had been disturbed. Number two, when they excavate, a pit is created, and a pit is a dip. It's a dip. It's just like any manhole or whatever. It's a dip. Now, once you create that dip, water in the adjoining land drain into the pit. So what is happening is that the soil moisture under the cocoa trees the moisture is all draining into the pit, leaving no moisture under the cocoa tree soils for its use. So eventually you see the cocoa trees dying because there's no soil moisture in the soil where they stand. Everything has been drained into the pit. And that's how. Now, number three, if you look at the way they've left our rivers and the water bodies and everything, they look murky. And that murky water, you cannot use it to do anything with cocoa. I've already explained that cocoa leaves
Have the pores and then they have the.
Once you spray, even when you're going to do spray and you use that murky water, you spray, it means that the dirt, because it's all silt, they are going to block the stomata, and the trees will not survive. Yes, we've seen so many experiences. So the farmers themselves, they know, and these days they have to carry water in Abubuya
To the
from
farm.
the house to the farms to use for spraying, to do everything. And most of our spraying require, water. So if you're spraying chemicals, even fertilizers, the liquid fertilizers and so on, so some of them, if it's powdery, you have to use water to mix and then spray. And if your water is not good, you cannot spray. When we were young, we don't carry water from the house to the farm for cooking and then for drinking. You get to any stream, you have very clean water, potable water. And then you just fetch some, take to the farm, use. When you're coming from the farm, you even bring water from your farm to the house for use. Now, you cannot use that water for anything. And the whole cocoa thing had seriously been affected, adversely and seriously affected. And once they finish the swamp areas, the next target will be the cocoa farms themselves. They are now going to uproot the cocoa farm. So already they've disturbed the environment. The ecosystem has been disrupted, which is negative. It has a negative impact on the industry. I've also explained that it's become costly, expensive now to do cocoa farm because you have to carry water to the farm to even do spraying and so on and so forth. We planned doing irrigation. We went to AFDB for money to do irrigation because climate change, the only way to mitigate climate change impact on cocoa is to establish irrigation facilities. So part of the AFDB money was intended for irrigation. But we have to return that money early because, we commissioned the Ghana, Irrigation Development Authority, JEDA, for them to do a preliminary assessment for us. And their report indicated that all the major rivers in the cocoa grain areas have been polluted. And you could not use it for the water wasn't fit for any purpose.
Wow.
And so we were forced to apply to AFDB for them to, do environment of the usage of that.
All that fun, so that they can apply it
They
to.
can apply it as part of the rehab program. So these are the impact of. Now, I say in 2050,
Uh-huh.
the industry will be in trouble because if you are not careful by that time, 2050 going, there'll be no river. Because all the major rivers are getting silted.
Uh-huh.
The Chamfine,
They used to wash the silt.
the effluent.
Yeah.
The effluent from the whatever they are doing, the waste. It's all dirt. It's all soil. It's all silt. And these are, being discharged into rivers. And in the river flow, once you have this sedimentation in the water, because of their weight, they will start settling at the bottom of the river. So increasingly, the river channels are being choked. If you have a gutter, increasingly, sand chokes it.
Over time.
Gets to a point, there's no gutter.
Yeah.
It rains, and then every place is flooded. This is what is going to happen to us